It is 6:06. I'm calling this meeting to order. Roll call.
Esquiotra present.
Alda Benavides present.
Mary Hernandez present.
And with that, Dr. Sanchez, I do declare a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez.
Yes, Mr. Board President, before we do the public comments, I would like to take some time to do a moment of silence for a community member that passed away last week. Brígida Bazán Trevino was a beloved mother to her family, and including our board secretary, Dr. Alda T. Benavides. Her passing is a great hardship to the family, and also the community has lost a very dedicated member. And so I would like to ask that we now observe a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez.
And Dr. Benavides, we're very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Salinas, we do have a public comment,
Okay.
and that is Ms. Pamela Flores.
Welcome, Ms. Flores. You'll have 3 minutes to state your reason. Our attorney, Mr. Ramirez, will take the count. When a minute is left, he'll let you know so you're able to finish off and close it off. You may start and begin when you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I can take off the mask, right? And Dr. Benavides, sorry for your loss. I didn't know about your mom.
Thank you.
She was a great woman. Okay. Good evening, members of the board and trustees and superintendent. I'm here to talk about head coaches. Last week or the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of rumors that have been running like wildfire that a lot of our head coaches, or a few of our head coaches, are going to be reassigned, removed. And I don't know if you know the responsibilities that a lot of these head coaches have, but if you don't walk in their shoes on a daily basis, they do a lot more than just coach. They care for their kids on a personal level. Their parents, their counselors, their teachers, their nurses, their grandparent. And it is sad when we don't value the individual or individuals. We have a lot of head coaches in our community that have earned, not been placed in a position. And then we have head coaches who've been placed. And I don't know, again, if it's just hearsay. Like I said, rumors fly like wildfire here. But it is unfair for certain individuals to be the only ones on a chopping block, if it's true, when we have other coaches or other head coaches who don't face the same repercussions. It is not right that people get singled out because they don't fly or they don't associate themselves with the politics. It is unfair that these individuals, those who really care about what they do and how they serve their kids, because at the end of the day is what we do for our kids, how we service our kids. As coaches, you know, again, we do a lot. We take the time to make sure that our children and those we teach, that they have the foundation. And a lot of these coaches work with not a whole lot of resources or the tools, or they're not allowed to speak to their middle schools and find out what's coming up, you know, what do I have coming in, because even those middle schools don't have the resources. Again, it's unfair that it's the chopping block may only be for a few, when I think it should be if everyone, If everyone is considered a head coach in the head coaching position in every school in every school we have here at La Jolla High, Juarez Lincoln, or even Palmu, they all face the same repercussions, not because you're politically affiliated, that you are not a part of the those individuals that are considered part of the chopping block. It is not right or fair that we have individuals who give and dedicate their lifetime to our students and their staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores.
And good evening.
Okay, moving right along, guys. Next, be approval of the minutes for October 27. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. With that being said, Superintendent's Report. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. The first item on the Superintendent's Report is the Enrollment Report dated November 1st, 2021. On this date, we had 10,768 elementary students and 13,489 secondary students, for a total of 24,257 students, and this number is 2,485 less than at this time last year. I do want to say that as of November the 15th, we did get an additional 165 students, so our enrollment is 24,422 students. Are there any questions on the enrollment report? The next item is recognition of Outstanding Service Award for Teachers of the Month for November 2021. We do have 2 teachers that have chosen to receive their award in person. So, Mr. Salinas and Dr. Benavides, if you will please stand in the front. Our assistant superintendents will hand out the certificate, but we would like to take a picture of you with our outstanding teachers. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Board President, members of the board, Madam Board President, and members of our community. My name is Ivana Ayala, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. La Jolla ISD prides itself in providing educational excellence to each of our students. We are able to do so because of the exceptional teachers we have serving our students in our classroom each day. This evening, we would like to recognize 3 of our outstanding middle school teachers in our district. Each middle school principal nominated 1 teacher from their campus. All nominees are teachers who demonstrate exceptional educational talent, are actively involved in the community, possess the respect of all members of the school, and have an engaging and inspiring presence in the classroom. A committee comprised of individuals from various departments made the final selection. To all of our teachers, we say thank you. This evening, we would like to recognize these Outstanding Service Awards recipients in middle school. Joining us today from Area 1, from Dr. Javier Sainz Middle School, Carly Salinas, Principal, we have Mr. Joel Estrada. Mr. Estrada is a champion for all students. If there is an initiative taking place, such as a repair for a family home, provide a donation to a family, collect Christmas presents, or mail out supplies to migrant students, it is a guarantee that Mr. Estrada will be involved. He is nurturing, generous, and intentional about helping students shine bright towards success. Again, we recognize Mr. Joel Estrada, migrant teacher at Sainz Middle School. Thank you, Mr. Estrada.
There's 2 more teachers.
1 more teacher here, yes. From Memorial Middle School, Belen Martinez, Principal. We recognize and honor Ms. Beatriz Valenzuela, Health Science Professions teacher. Her principal states, as a true outstanding teacher, Ms. Valenzuela goes beyond her role as a dynamic teacher. As teachers rushed to hastily adjust to virtual instruction, Ms. Valenzuela initiated and volunteered to lead Tech Talk Thursdays and weekly professional development lessons on various technology resources. Beyond lists and numbers, Beatriz Valenzuela is depended on and highly regarded by her peers. Some know others, others know some, all know Mrs. Valenzuela, and we all recognize that we are the fortunate ones to call her our colleagues. Again, we recognize and honor Ms. Beatriz Valenzuela from Memorial Middle School. Congratulations.
And thank you to her principal, Ms. Martinez, for being here to support your teacher. Congratulations and thank you, Mrs. Martinez.
And watching live, we have from Ann Richards Middle School, Principal Tomas Ocaña. We recognize Ms. Crystal Villarreal, our theater arts teacher. Ms. Villarreal is an essential role in her students' lives and goes above and beyond to teach and guide them through various outlets and programs beyond the classroom. She encourages students and helps build self-esteem through drama by helping them grasp new social and communication skills. She helps them explore relationships through collaborative practice and provides a safe environment for all students. Ms. Villarreal is a devoted teacher who makes herself available to any and all who needs assistance. Again, we honor and recognize Ms. Crystal Villarreal, theater teacher at Ann Richards Middle School. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas and Dr. Benavides.
Thank you.
Next, we have recognition of district principals for American Education Week. Mr. Martin Munoz, our Assistant Superintendent, will do this recognition, and all our principals are joining us virtually for this award.
Mr. Board President, Coach Salinas, Madam Superintendent, Dr. Science, members of the board, and community. In celebration of American Education Week, we thank you for this opportunity and this platform to recognize and honor our principals for leading our campus staff, students, and community through one of the most challenging times our nation has encountered in education. Through their visionary leadership and tireless pursuit of success for each student, our principals came through when it mattered most. Thanks to their efforts, our students have continued to receive excellence in education in a safe and engaging learning environment. So we would like to recognize your principals, their campuses, for their achievements. First of all, we recognize Mr. Antonio Cano, principal of La Jolla High School. La Jolla High School has received an academic achievement in mathematics. So congratulations, and we recognize Mr. Antonio Cano. At Juarez Lincoln High School, we have Principal Mr. Ricardo Estrada. Mr. Estrada Juarez Lincoln High School is a Fort NGO Academies High School and a Texas T-STEM High School. At Palmview High School, we have Mr. Leonel Perez. Palmview High School has been recognized for having received academic achievements in English Language Arts / reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in social studies, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Mr. Perez and his staff. At Jimmy Carter Early College High School, we have Ms. Claudia Gomez Perez as their principal. At Jimmy Carter Early College High School, they've been recognized for having academic achievement in English Language Arts reading, academic achievement in math, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and also for post-secondary readiness. So we congratulate and recognize Ms. Claudia Gomez Perez and her staff. At Thelma R. Salinas STEM Early College High School, we have Mr. Victor Rodriguez leading the campus. Thelma Salinas Early College High School, STEM Early College High School, recognized for having received academic achievement in math, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and also for post-secondary readiness. At La Jolla Early College High School, we have Mr. Domingo Villarreal III as our campus principal. We recognize him and his staff. At the Academy of Health Science Professions and STEM, we have Ms. Leanne Alanis Herrera as her campus principal. We recognize her and her staff. At La Jolla West Academy, we have Ms. Antonia Sanchez as their campus principal. We recognize her and her staff as well. At the College and Career Center, we have Mr. Ronnie Cabrera as the campus principal. And we recognize Mr. Cabrera and his staff. At our Hope Academy, we have Mr. Juan de Dios Quiroz leading the campus, and we recognize him and his staff during this week. At Ann Richards Middle School, we have Mr. Thomas Ocaña leading the campus. Ann Richards Middle School is recognized for having received academic achievement in English language, arts, and reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, academic achievement in social studies, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So we recognize Mr. Ocaña and his campus. At Memorial Middle School, we have Ms. Belen Martinez leading the campus. Memorial Middle School has been recognized for having received academic achievement in English language, arts, and reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, academic achievement in social studies, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Martinez and her staff. At Cesar Chavez Middle School, we recognize Principal Mr. Rolando Rios. Mr. Rios and his staff were recognized for having received academic achievement in English language arts reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to him and his staff. At Lorenzo de Zavala Middle School, we recognize Principal Ms. Silvia Elizondo. Lorenzo de Zavala Middle School was recognized for having achieved academic achievement in English language arts reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in social studies, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Elizondo and her staff. At Irene Garcia Middle School, we recognize Principal Mr. Santana Galvan. Irene Garcia Middle School did receive academic achievement in English language, arts, and reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, academic achievement in social studies, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Mr. Galvan and his staff. At Domingo Treviño Middle School, we recognize Principal Mr. Jose T. Garcia. Domingo Treviño Middle School was recognized for having achieved academic achievements in English language arts reading, academic achievement in science, academic achievement in social studies, top 25% comparative academic growth, and top 25% comparative closing the gaps. At Juan de Dios Salinas Middle School, we recognize Principal Ms. Nidia Ortiz. J.D. Salinas Middle School did receive an academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and post-secondary readiness. At Dr. Javier Science Middle School, we do recognize Ms. Carlota Carly Salinas. She is the campus principal, and we recognize her and her staff. At Enrique Quique Camarena Elementary, we recognize Ms. Dulce Diaz as the campus principal. Camarena Elementary was recognized for having achieved academic achievements in English language, arts, and reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. At William J. Clinton Elementary, we have Ms. Alma Perez as the campus principal, and Clinton Elementary did receive recognitions in academic achievement in English language, arts, and reading, academic achievements in math, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So we congratulate Ms. Perez and her staff. At Tabasco Elementary, we have Ms. Karen Villarreal Leaños as the campus principal. Tabasco Elementary was recognized for having achieved academic achievements in English language, arts, reading, academic achievements in math, academic achievement in science, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. At John F. Kennedy Elementary, we have Ms. Mary Guerra as the campus principal. JFK Elementary did receive an academic achievement in English language, arts, and reading, academic achievement in math, academic achievements in science, TEP 25%, comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. At Lloyd Benson Elementary, we have Ms. Hilda Mendoza as the campus principal. Benson Elementary was recognized for having received an academic achievement in English Language Arts and Reading, academic achievements in math, academic achievements in science, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Mendoza and her staff. At E.B. Reina Elementary, we have Ms. Lucina Lara Garza as the campus principal. E.B. Reina Elementary was recognized for having received academic achievement in English Language Arts Reading, academic achievements in math, academic achievement in science, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Lara Garza and her staff at E.B. Reina Elementary. At Leo Elementary, at Leo J. Leo Elementary, we have Ms. Carrie Villarreal as the campus principal. Leo Elementary was recognized for having achieved an academic achievement in English Language Arts Reading, top 25% comparative academic growth, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So we congratulate Ms. Villarreal and her staff. At E.R. Chapa Elementary, at Elodie R. Chapa, we do have Ms. Eliamar Lopez as the campus principal. Ms. Lopez and her staff were recognized for having achieved academic achievements in English Language Arts Reading, academic achievements in math, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Lopez and her staff. At Guillermo Flores Elementary, we do have Ms. Jacqueline Escobedo as the campus principal. And Flores Elementary was recognized for having received academic achievements in English Language Arts Reading, top 25% comparative closing the gaps, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Escobedo and her staff. At Dr. Palmira Mendiola Elementary, we have Ms. Alicia Gutierrez as the campus principal. Mendiola Elementary was recognized for having received academic achievements in English Language Arts Reading, top 25% comparative academic growth, and for post-secondary readiness. So we congratulate Ms. Gutierrez and her staff. At Dr. Americo Paredes Elementary, we have Dr. Erica Gonzalez as the campus principal. Dr. Gonzalez and her staff were recognized for having achieved academic achievements in English Language Arts Reading, academic achievements in mathematics, and for post-secondary readiness. Congratulations to her and her staff. At Jose de Escandon Elementary, we have Ms. Mary Sepulveda as the campus principal. Ms. Sepulveda and her staff were recognized as having received academic achievements in English Language Arts Reading, academic achievement in mathematics, and for post-secondary readiness. At Narciso G. Cavazos Elementary, we have Ms. Elizabeth Longoria as the campus principal. Cavazos Elementary was recognized for having received academic achievements in mathematics, academic achievements in science, and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Longoria and her staff. At Sanford Ice Elementary, we have Ms. Roxanne Peña as the campus principal. Sanford Ice Elementary was recognized for having received academic achievements in mathematics and for post-secondary readiness. So congratulations to Ms. Peña and her staff. At Diaz Villarreal Elementary, we have Ms. Yolanda Salazar Meave. Ms. Meave and her staff were recognized for having received academic achievements in science and for the top 25% comparative academic growth. So congratulations to Ms. Salazar Meave and her staff. At Kika de la Garza Elementary, we have Ms. Yvette Basaldu as the campus principal. Kika de la Garza was recognized for having received academic achievement in English Language Arts Reading and for post-secondary readiness. At Corina Peña Elementary, we have Ms. Clarita Pajutag as the campus principal. Peña Elementary was recognized for having achieved academic achievements in mathematics. At Evangelina Garza Elementary, we have Ms. Maria Flores Guerra as the campus principal. And Garza Elementary was recognized for having received an academic achievement in English Language Arts /Reading. At Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary, we have Ms. Sylvia Trevino Sandoval as the campus principal. Gonzalez Elementary was recognized for having achieved an academic achievement in English Language Arts Reading. At Rosendo Benavides Elementary, we have Dr. Romeo Benavides as the campus principal. Benavides Elementary was recognized for having achieved an academic achievement in science. At Juan N. Seguin Elementary, we do have Dr. Sandra Cerda as the campus principal. We recognize her and her staff. At Patricio Perez Elementary, we have Ms. Myra T. Ramos as the campus principal. We recognize Ms. Ramos and her staff. At Emiliano Zapata Elementary, we have Ms. Rosa Gonzalez Vela as the campus principal. We recognize her and her staff during this week. At our Head Start program, we have Ms. Yesenia Gonzalez as the campus principal. We recognize her and her staff and our partnership with the Head Start program. And leading our La Jolla ISD Virtual Academy, we have our director, Ms. Dianabel Villarreal Gomez. We congratulate her and her staff. And again, this week we are celebrating American Education Week. We thank you, board members, for this opportunity to celebrate and recognize our campus principals and their staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Munoz, and congratulations, and thank you to all our campus leaders for all their work. Next, we have recognition of La Jolla ISD crisis team members, and this recognition will be done by our Chief of Police, Chief Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Science, members of the board, community. Tonight, we want to recognize two individuals that volunteered and worked continuously with our crisis team to ensure the safety of our students, staff, and community was never compromised. These two individuals provided input to the district crisis team to ensure all COVID-19 related protocols were aligned with our district safety procedures as recommended by TEA and the CDC. Tonight, we want to congratulate and thank Ms. Brenda Lee Salinas and Mr. Mario Sierra III for their unconditional support to our crisis team to make sure that everybody was safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Gonzalez. Next, we have recognition of campus principals with the highest attendance for the second 6 weeks. And we have Dr. Magda Villarreal, our Assistant Superintendent for Student Services, to do this award. We do have these principals that are here in person. So if we could have Ms. Hernandez, Dr. Cantu, and Ms. Ochoa, please help us do these recognitions. If you'll come to the front, then the principals will get their certificate and we'll take your photo with them. Thank you, Dr. Villarreal.
Thank you, Dr. Science. Good evening, Mr. Board President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Science, and the La Jolla ISD community. As we know, good attendance is a high predictor of a student's academic performance and achievement. Therefore, it's a great pleasure to recognize the following campus principals for having the highest attendance rate for the second 6 weeks. We do have several individuals joining us here in person and others joining us live. So the top 3 elementary campuses with the highest attendance rates are Ms. Elizabeth Longoria, principal, and the campus is Cavazos Elementary with a 94.56% attendance rate. Then we have Enrique Camarena, principal, Ms. Dulce Diaz with a 94.18%. Also, we have Escandon Elementary, principal, Ms. Mary Sepulveda, and the attendance rate is 94.01%. As far as our middle schools, we have Rolando Rios, principal at Cesar Chavez Middle School, and the campus had a 93.44%. We also have Jose de Dios Salinas Middle School, and joining us this evening, we have campus principal Nidia Ortiz, with an attendance rate of 93.27%.
Congratulations, Ms. Ortiz. We have, I think we have 2 more principals that are here.
We have one more principal. Two more principals.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Memorial Middle School, and joining us this evening, Principal Ms. Belen Martinez with a 93.21%. Congratulations. Next, as for our early college high schools, we do have Mr. Victor Rodriguez. His campus had the highest attendance rate for the second 6 weeks with a 93.71%. As for our comprehensive high schools, we do have Juarez Lincoln High School that came in at the top with an 87.34%. Congratulations, Mr. Ricardo Estrada, and he is joining us live here. As for our specialty high schools, we do have West Academy, Ms. Antonia Sanchez, and her campus had a 64.74% for the second 6 weeks. Congratulations, Ms. Sanchez and staff. At this time, I would also like for all of us to join me in a round of applause to all the teachers and students of these campuses, because it does take a team. Thank you so much, campus principals, staff, and students.
Thank you, Ms. Ochoa, and thank you, Dr. Cantu, and thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Next, we have recognition of La Jolla High School and Juarez Lincoln High School and Palmview High School cross-country regional qualifiers. Mr. Victor Garza, Athletic Director, will do this recognition. This recognition will be virtual.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. President, Madam Superintendent. Good evening, Board of Trustees, administration, and community, and all watching virtually. It gives me great honor to present to us today the regional qualifiers for cross-country. Recently participated at their individualized districts, 31-5A and 31-6A. Also participated up at Corpus area for the regionals. Today we present from La Jolla High School. We have Priscilla Rendon Jr. and her coach is Coach Leslie Luna. From Juarez Lincoln boys team, 31-6A, we have Daniel Lopez. He's a senior at Juarez Lincoln, and his head coach is actually Coach Rene Loera. Next, we present our Palmview girls cross-country team, and very, very honored and pleased to present to you, audience, our Palmview girls that have won their 10th district championship in 12 years of existence. And that is a great, great accomplishment for the team. As you picture them there, and we'll take them individually here in a minute. We have Destiny Quintanilla. She is a senior. We'll definitely miss her. She is a 3-time district champion individualized. So definitely we'll be missing Ms. Destiny Quintanilla. We have next Ms. Brianna Munoz, a senior. We have Ms. Jasmine Garza, a senior. We have Ms. Abigail Solis, a sophomore. Looking to have great hopes for Ms. Abigail the next 2 seasons. We have Ms. Katie Aranda, sophomore. We have Ms. Asenet Moreno, a senior. We have Ms. Delaney Sosa, a senior. And we have Ms. Leah Gomez, senior, all members of the Palmview High School Lobos cross-country team. Their head coach, very proud of her, 10 district titles, 12 years in a row with regional qualifiers. Outstanding job by Coach Claudia Pasan. Her assistant is Coach Daniel Malacara. I don't have Coach Malacara's picture, but I will mention him verbally. And then from Palmview, the boys' side, we do have Mr. Anakin Robles, pictured here. He's a senior, and he's pictured here with his head coach on the right side, Coach Jorge Cantu, and assisted by Coach Alberto Carrillo. With this, I do present the great accomplishments during this season, despite the COVID era and that, our student athletes did an outstanding job, not only as the runners, but students also. We want to thank the principals, previously Ms. Ayala, that was there during this season. I'll be here with us, definitely Mr. Cano, definitely Mr. Estrada, and definitely Mr. Perez at Palmview High School. With that, thank you for the recognition.
Thank you, Coach Garza. Next, we have recognition of Juarez Lincoln High School Band and La Jolla High School Band. And this recognition will be done by Mr. Ruben Adame, Head Fine Arts Administrator.
Good evening, President Salinas, Dr. Sines, members of the board, assistant superintendents, and guests in attendance. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you to recognize two of our high school bands for receiving a Division I rating at the 78th Annual Pigskin Jubilee Marching Contest, held here at the La Jolla Pack Stadium on October 16th, and advancing to the 2021 UIL Area G Marching Contest at PSJ ISD Stadium on October 30th. Preparations for these contests started in mid-July with summer band camps at each campus, and before and after school rehearsals in very challenging weather conditions and unique challenges presented with the management of COVID-19 virus. The level of commitment and dedication from every student in each band program culminated in superior performances by these two high school band programs. October 16th was a very proud day for La Jolla ISD, and a very happy and exciting day for all of our La Jolla High School and Whitest Lincoln High School band programs and their respective band families. For the first time in district history, La Jolla ISD had two 6A bands that were named 2021 UIL 6A Area G finalists, ranking these two band programs as one of the top 10 6A bands in Area G, which covers school districts from Laredo, Texas to Brownsville, Texas. This accomplishment is very special and dear to our band directors and to the students of these two programs, simply because of not knowing what to expect, especially coming back to in-person instruction and after not participating in any type of marching band activity since the 2019 marching band season. This is truly a journey and an accomplishment that will be remembered for many years. When I think back at the journey these band programs have been through, the word perseverance comes to mind. The Webster Dictionary defines perseverance as a steady persistence in a course of action, a purpose, a state, especially in spite of difficulties, obstacles, or discouragement. This definition truly identifies what our band programs exemplified this marching season. Watching the journey these programs traveled through this year is nothing short of inspirational and impressive. The great soccer player Pele once quoted saying, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do." This quote truly defines the band programs we are recognizing tonight. The first band program we're recognizing is the La Jolla High School Band. This year marks the 23rd consecutive year the La Jolla High School Band has received a Division I rating at Pigskin. Drum major for the La Jolla High School Band is Devin Garcia, and color guard captain is Giselle Garza. La Jolla High School Band staff and their middle school vertical team are, from left to right, percussion consultant Mark Chapa, Lorenzo de Zavala assistant director Nancy Colunga, La Jolla High School assistant Noe Ramirez, Lorenzo de Zavala head director Diana Campuzano, La Jolla High School Assistant Director Roxanne Lopez, La Jolla High School Director of Bands Jesus Perez, La Jolla High School Assistant Director Angel Gamboa, Chavez Middle School Head Director Dina Garcia, Percussion Technician Mario Compian, Chavez Middle School Assistant Director Flor Benitez, Science Middle School Head Director Cristina Carrion, Science Middle School Assistant Jose Montalvo, and La Jolla High School Assistant Noe Ramirez. Principal at La Jolla High School is Mr. Antonio Cano. Next, we are recognizing the Juarez Lincoln High School Band. This year marks the 8th consecutive year the Juarez Lincoln High School Band has received a Division I rating at Pigskin. Drum major for the Whitest Lincoln High School Band is Cecilia Martinez. And color guard captains are Adriana Cuellar and Myra Flores. The Juarez Lincoln High School Band staff and their middle school vertical team are Trevino Middle School Head Director Josh Martinez, and Richards Middle School Head Director Oscar Santiago, and Richards Middle School Assistant Oscar Garcia, Juarez Lincoln High School Assistant Josh Rodriguez, Juarez Lincoln High School Director of Bands Zinaia Montemayor Banda, Juarez Lincoln High School Assistant Trinidad Lopez, Juarez Lincoln High School Assistant Andrea Garcia, J.D. Salinas Middle School Co-Head Director Joe Verrial, and J.D. Salinas Middle School Co-Head Director Isaac Vasquez. The principal at Juarez Lincoln is Mr. Ricardo Estrada. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adam, and congratulations to our bands. Next, we have recognition of Mrs. Yolanda Medina, La Jolla ISD Migrant Recruiter, for being selected by the Association for Migrant Educators of Texas as the recipient of the 2021 Recruiter Award. Mr. Jael Perez, Migrant Director, will present this award.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Dr. Science, Superintendent of Schools, and members of the community. First of all, thank you so much for allowing us to recognize one of our staff members that couldn't be here today because she was coincidentally being recognized at the AMIT conference in San Marcos this morning. Yolanda Medina is a product of La Jolla ISD and has been working for our department for 11 years. But before that, she was working at the same capacity for a school district in Michigan where her family would migrate. Yolanda was nominated from our district personnel together with other staff members to represent and get a chance to be selected and recognized by the state level. Each district in the entire state nominates migrant personnel to the Association of Migrant Education, and upon review, the committee selects a staff member of the year for each capacity. Because of her achievements, Ms. Yolanda Medina was elected Recruiter of the Year by the Association of Migrant Education Committee. Currently, we have around 1,200 students, and because of this highest number, the district, which is the highest number in the state as of right now, and a lot has to do with the effort from all the recruiters, especially Ms. Yolanda Medina. She brings the experience and dedications to assist in identifying families and is a major contributor to our high numbers. In addition, even with less personnel, we have maintained our 5% migrant students demographics, which is a direct impact in the ADA funding. As a department, we are extremely proud of her accomplishments and the positive way she represents La Jolla ISD. Thank you so much for allowing us to recognize Ms. Yolanda Medina. This is a picture with her and Ellie Ross, the president of the AMIT conference, and this happened this morning. So she should be on her way back as we speak. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Mr. Salinas, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Science. Moving on to discussion items. Number one, discussion of investment and invested earnings as of September 30th of 2021.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Science. Tonight, I will be discussing with you the investments and investment earnings for La Jolla ISD as of September 30th, 2021. I'd like to direct you over to page 35 of your agenda. On page 35, this is a summary of the investments held by La Jolla ISD as of September 30th. As of September 30th, the district had $83,314,025 in total investments, of which $76,711,515 were in the general fund, representing 92.08%. Okay. Next, I would like to go over to page 43. On page 43, this is the investment earnings, what we've earned as of September 30th. We have earned, as of September 30th, $11,973, of which $11,286 are in the general fund. Okay. Right below it, you would see the different interest rates that the district is receiving and the different options that we have. I mean, of course, as of right now, interests are very low, so the district is not gaining as much interest as we're used to. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to item number 2 under discussion items, discussion on update the American Rescue Plan for elementary and secondary emergency relief, ARP. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Board President, Dr. Science, and members of the board and members of the committee. Today I will be presenting an update on the American Rescue Plan, Elementary and Secondary Schools Emergency Relief, known as the ESSER. On September 13, we got the notice of a grant award for the 2/3 of this particular grant. As you can see here from this slide, we got the notification of $98.2 million. And this became effective on September 13. And we have until September 30, 2023. So this is what we've done so far, distribution with 2/3 of the funds for this year, 2021 and 2022. As you can see, we go by categories here for the lost learning. And you see the figures there that we have dispersed for those elementary education, middle school education, high school education, technology, CTE, college readiness, curriculum evaluation, 504, and dyslexia and RTI, as well as student services. Next, we have we still continue with the distribution of the 2/3. On transportation, you see there the amounts there, which is, that one is still on hold because USD has not made a final determination whether they will be making the final that they can pay through these funds. And if the decision is not the way we want it, then we have to change those funds with local funds. So that's a risk that we take. At this point, they're on hold. For the maintenance department, you can see the amounts there that includes benches, HVAC repairs and upgrades, play sets, air and surface purification, and cover canopies or patios. From human resources, you see that we have retention stipends, which half of that has been distributed, and the next part will be coming up in December. And then the vaccination immunization cards, the $500 for the technology classrooms and the CHEPR. And then you see that we have the personal protective equipment for all campuses as well. And this includes all departments as well. So here, this is the 2/3 that we have so far. Now, the ESSER 1/3 for the 2021-22, the entitlement will be $49.1 million. And this is to be released at the end of this month, if not by the spring of 2022. But it looks like it's going to be by the end of late November. And if that's the case, we'll do an amendment with this amount of money and adjust our up to codes. That way we're going to spend that money. The ESSER 2, this is This is a different fund, but from the same part of the grant, and known as a 281. And this one, we just got notice on November 12th of this present year. We just got the notification of the award. And what is planned for this distribution is out of the ESSER, the $65.6 million, we're going to use it for FTEs and part of the HVAC and then indirect costs. So this is going to be a rather quick distribution for this money.
I would just like to say, Board of Trustees, that we are preparing to bring an HVAC study for you before we move any further on this expenditure.
So at this point, I will entertain any questions or concerns that the members of the board might have.
I would just like to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just have a question. If there was a formula of some sort, how it was determined on the distribution of funds for the content area?
On the percentages.
The percentages? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we did, we got it from the learning mitigation that we had all the stakeholders come in. And so far, we have for the learning loss, we have distributed around 17.12% at this point, as of up to date. So at least the state wants 20%, so we're getting close to that target. But we still have more to go because a lot of this money that you got to see is going to be reoccurring for the next 2 years. So it's gonna go over 42%, and we're projecting about that.
I would like to know how much specifically is being used for the special ed students. At another time, you don't, I mean,
Okay.
not right now.
Yeah, the special education has submitted a request, which we're going to be helping them out as part of some equipment that they need. And as a matter of fact, this morning we had a small meeting with Clem Garza, that is going to be assistant Ms. Garza, the special ed director. So that will help also tremendously with those students as well.
But so far, have we allotted any funds for them?
Yes, as a matter of fact, their request is being processed.
But it's not on here though, right? Not-
No, it's part of the technology equipment. It's part for the learning recovery.
If at a future board meeting, we can have a breakdown for
Sure.
what has been provided for special ed.
I will. Thank you, Dr. Benavides, for that. Any questions? So as you can tell, we are going to have some major distribution, which is the next half of the stipend of the $1,250. So that's coming up.
And on the SR2 that's going to be distributed, that's going to be for FTEs, I would like to know which FTEs are going to be
Sure.
covered
Yes, ma'am.
with that 40 million.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving on to item number 3 under discussion items. Discussion of comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 21.
Mr. Noel Garza, CPA, will do this report for us. Thank you, Mr. Garza.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saenz. Mr. President, members of the board, good evening. Dr. Benavides, my condolences on the passing of your mother. Que paz descanse. I've come to you tonight to present the results of the annual financial audit for the La Jolla Independent School District for the year end June 30th of 2021. This is a big change for the district, having converted from an August 31st year end to a June 30 year end. And so this report will reflect the change. And going forward, this first year was a 10 months of operation because of the conversion. But going forward, there will be 12 months reported. If I may, on page 1 of your report is the auditor's opinion, and this opinion is where we base where we report on what the overall findings or overall status of the report was, and in a nutshell. So if you look at the last paragraph on page 1.
Board of Trustees, he's referring to the separate book that you have, and Mr. Garza is currently on page 1 after the Roman numerals in that book.
My apologies, I forgot to mention that. So on page 1 is the auditor's opinion, and I'll just reference and I'll just paraphrase the last paragraph on page 1, where it states that in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above are a fair representation of the La Jolla Independent School District's year-end June 30th, 2021. And so what that means, this is considered an unmodified report, unmodified opinion, which means this is the highest opinion that can be rendered for the financial statements as presented. We did not find any items that required any modification, nor items that needed to be modified. If I could, please refer to page 13 of your report, and I will just be very brief because I know you've got a long agenda. Page 13 is the balance sheet for the district. The first column, as you know, is the general fund, of course, of which the majority of your expenditures and revenues are reflected. And I'll just point down to the second from the bottom on the first column. You'll notice a total fund balance for the year ended at $111,356,346. Now that number is comprised of various amounts represented by the different categories, of which include inventories, prepaid items, federal or state restricted funds, construction, other assigned, and the unassigned portion. Now, so the unassigned portion is the only portion here that has any discretion. The others have all been allocated according to board commitments and or restrictions by state law or federal grants. How we got to that 111 million, I will, if you wouldn't mind turning to page 15. This is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. For a more common term would be an income statement, but this is the appropriate title. Again, general fund in the first column reflects the revenues and expenditures for the 10 months ended June 30th. And so for the 10 months ended, the district received $314,323,000 in revenues, which are comprised of local, state, and federal. Now, one thing to note here, the state programs, the $255 million, do reflect a full fiscal year, a full school year. So you do have earnings reflected of a full school year, whilst the expenditures listed below reflect 10 months. So we do have a little bit of a difference, with the exception of payroll, which is reflected as 12 months. The rest of the expenditures are only 10 months worth. So you do have a little bit of a different way of looking at it for this year, and it does cause some numbers to look a little different than they would normally. But the $314 million does represent a full 12 months, a full school year's, revenues, and the total expenditures for the year do reflect $291,098,000. That compares to $313,912 in the previous year, which was a full 12 months. So you can see how there's approximately a $23 million variance in the fiscal year expenditures because we're missing the 2-month period of expenses. So that causes the line, that contributes to the line 1100, which is titled excess deficiencies of revenues over or under expenditures, which reflects a $23 million excess revenue for the year, for the 10 months. Now, again, the majority of that is contributed to the 10-month period of expenditures rather than the 12 months. So it does cause that excess revenue to flow through down to your fund balance. After a small adjustments there in the other areas, we end up with a net change of $22,792,000, which is added to the previous balance of $87,920,000, which gets us to the $111,356,000. Now, the $22 million is the majority of that is contributed to those 2 months of missing expenditures, and so going forward, the next years will have a full 12 months. But, these 2 months that are hanging here will eventually catch up, at some point in the future. So it's kind of, you see these funds, but in reality, they will be spent at some point down the road. So again, I refer back to page 13 to show you the breakdown of the different components. There are many schedules in here that are required, as this is a CAFR, and so there's many reports. The only other one that I wanted to mention to you was on page 141 and 142 of the report. This is the schedule of federal expenditures, federal awards, and it does reflect revenues that were provided by federal grants to the district to assist in the education of your children. And just so you'll have a reference, the total on page 142 is $55.5 million that were received, which took off a lot of burden from the local taxpayer by having this additional funding. So I always point it out because the district is very fortunate to receive this quantity of federal funds, and it does make a big difference in the education of your children. There are many schedules, as I mentioned, but those in a nutshell are the ones that I think would benefit you the most, and I appreciate your time, and if I certainly would entertain any questions if there are any, but thank you very much.
Any questions, guys?
Just what's in a nutshell, the benefit of ending June 30th?
The biggest benefit to it is that it coincides with a lot of the federal grants. They begin the fiscal year, and it also helps align better the school year, because in the past years, the year ending in August had to allocate funds to begin the next school year in the months of August, where you have either 14 or 15 days of classroom, and of course even more days for classroom teachers, that you had to pay for out of the old fiscal year funds. And so you kind of have, and it's difficult, it's always proven difficult for the administration and principals, because the startup of a school year has to get going very quickly, but yet budgets are shutting down and closing, purchase orders are closing, and so it's difficult to start up and have everything that a classroom needs, a school needs to function at its optimum. And so this way, the school year begins July 1st, the fiscal year begins July 1st, classes begin in August, funds are open, funds are available, purchase orders are available to be utilized, and so the classrooms at the schools can be off and running and at full, with the full supplies that are needed to be able to educate the children best. That is the biggest benefit to it. And there used to be other benefits where federal grants used to end at June 30th, but that's changed. Most of them now have extended to September 30th. So, but again, aligning your school year with the fiscal year helps at the start of the school years. And I think your principals will be appreciative of it, that those funds are available and can help start the school year off on the right foot.
And as a CPA, as an outsider looking at our funds, anything that we need to be on the lookout for?
The one thing that I would caution the district on is that this increase in fund balance is just a timing difference. It's not and I say it cautiously, it's not money in the bank. While it is, it's only there temporarily because of a timing difference. Mm-hmm. I would really caution the board on seeing those funds and thinking that they're available to be utilized at your all's discretion, which they are, but you've got to take cognizant of the fact that those funds will be needed in the coming years. So you've got to be a little cautious in the use of them and not jump to any conclusions that there's a lot of extra money available this year. So that's the biggest thing I would take from it, Dr. Benavides.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Job well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Garza.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Can I obtain a motion?
So move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. And we move on to letter A, number 4, approval to the agreement with T-Mobile USA Incorporated for hotspots through the Emergency Connectivity Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, resolution number 2021-14, authorizing the distribution of votes for the election of the Appraisal District Board of Directors for 22-23.
I move that we give all 190 votes to Mr. Amador Requenes for the Board of Directors.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. On the letter C, Business and Finance, approval of the application and certificate for payment contractor's fee number 1 for the La Jolla ISD Juarez Lincoln High School Drainage Improvement Project.
I move to approve items number 2 and number 3.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, under Business and Finance, approval to rescind previous board action on the proposal submitted by architectural firm to oversee the La Jolla ISD ESSER 3 funds, place set equipment, ERO Architects.
What was the reason for rescinding?
I think they're, if I'm not correct, if I'm correct, I think they turned it down. Am I correct?
Yes, the reason that they rescinded was they felt that because it was a fee of under $100 and no limit on their liability exposure, they felt that this was too low of a project cost for them to do.
So moved.
So that would be for items 4 and 5, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So can we attain a motion for items 4 and
Yes,
5?
item number 4 and 5.
I'll second Dr. Benavides. Okay.
Coach, excuse me, Mr. Salinas, if I just may make a suggestion to Dr. Sainz, I don't see Mr. Villarreal here, but in reference to the playground or the playset equipment, I know I've always been an advocate for these outside classrooms. If we could make, or if I could, like I said, make a suggestion that we ensure that that we have inclusion playgrounds, that we look into that we look at those like the settings, the equipment that we're including. I think this is the adequate time for us to look at this and ensure that all our kids get to enjoy these outdoor classrooms, especially our special needs kids, that they feel included and that, not only that they are developmentally appropriate for all students, but all inclusive, our special ed students.
I agree.
We will look into the current equipment that was bid out. I don't know that it is all inclusion, but we'll definitely look into if there's any changes that we make, then we'll bring those to you.
Yeah, I think this is the time that we, if we have these funds and we're going to make this big expense, that we use it appropriately and include all our students.
Thank you, Dr. Cantu.
Okay, so I have a motion, and am I taking your second, Ms. Ochoa?
Second.
Okay, that's for items 4 and 5 under letter C, Business and Finance. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter C, Business and Finance. Number 6, approval of proposal submitted by Hinojosa Engineering Firm to oversee the La Jolla ISD ESSER 3 funds canopy project.
Move to approve items 6 and 7.
I have a motion for items 6 and 7.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter C, Business and Finance. Number 8, discussion and possible action regarding contract between La Jolla ISD and attorneys at law that provide legal services in developing and submitting audits for the district's taxable value.
Move to table items number 8 and 9.
I have a motion to table items 8 and 9. I'll go ahead and second Dr. Benavides. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter C, Business and Finance. Number 10, approval of the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending in June 30, 2021.
So moved.
I have a motion, and I'm going to take the second from Ms. Ochoa. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter D, Instruction and Student Services, approval for extended student travel for La Jolla High School Mariachi to attend the Mariachi Vargas Extravaganza National Competition on December 2nd through the 5th, 21, in San Antonio, Texas.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter E, Human Resources, number 1, approval of the CH local policy revision.
I so move to approve under Human Resources, items 1, 2, and 3.
I have a motion for items 1 to 3. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Do we get a second? I'm sorry.
Second? Second.
And a second, Dr. Cantu. Thank you. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter E, Human Resources, number 4, approval of the additional duty stipend for 2021-23 expansion of dual credit faculty for CCRSM.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, approval of the adjustment to instructional support pay plan for special education self-contained SAU and PPC unit instructional assistance effective November 18th of 21.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Can I, and I'll take the other one as a second. Oh, okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. And now, number 6, public hearing regarding payment in excess of contractual amount for special education self-contained PPC and SAU instructional assistance effective November 18, 2021. At this time, it is 7:16, and this is open for public hearing. Any questions for the public? Okay, so it's 7:17, so we're out of the public hearing. Can I attend a motion for item number 6?
So moved to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. It is now 7:17, and under section codes 551071, 551072, and 551074, we're going into executive session. Okay, it's 9:52, and we are out of executive session.
I move on items 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I have a motion for items 1 through 4,
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
On item number 5, I move that we grant the remedy sought.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
On item number 6, I move that we take no action.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. We have items 7 and 8.
On items 7 and 8, no action taken. I move that we take no action.
Second.
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. It is 9:53. The meeting is adjourned. You all have a great night, guys.